Well, looks like Cory Booker is going to have to hit that strip club and start dancing for some dollars because my man's is broke. He broke as hell, and he's so broke he at the point of begging on Twitter. They're releasing public memos that were supposed to be private, but now they're public because they need some money and they need it now because their campaign is about to flounder. This was bro. It was I BS you not, bro. This was in like a trending Twitter story to help raise money for him. It's quite honestly a little bit disgusting. We can get into that in a second, though. But first, let's check out this article by NBC detailing how broke Cory Booker is. I mean, broke as hell. Lagging in polling and fundraising, Democratic presidential candidate Cory Booker said Saturday that he may end his run unless donations from supporters increase quickly. If you believe me, if you believe in me, this is the time to help because without it, we shouldn't be in this race. His campaign manager, Adesu Demisi, said in a memo made public that the New Jersey senator needed to raise an additional 1.7 million by September 30th to remain competitive in the crowded field of candidates seeking the nomination. If we're not able to build the campaign organization, which means raise the money that we need to win the nomination, Cory's not going to continue running and consuming resources that are better used on beating Donald Trump. Always. It's always Donald Trump's. Man, that dude. It always comes down to beating Donald Trump. Not pushing progressive ideology or pushing progressive policies. It's always beating Donald Trump is the most important thing. Yeah, that's probably why you're losing, Cory. He says with such a fundraising surge, the campaign does not see. I think it meant without such a fundraising surge, the campaign does not see a legitimate long-term path forward, according to the memo. I think that was a typo. This isn't an end of quarter stunt or another one of those memos from a campaign trying to spin the press, the memo said, offering a real unvarnished look under the hood of our operation. Now, the article does go on to say that Booker is qualified for a spot in the next debate in October. Yeah, I know. There should be a bunch of eyebrow raising and some question marks above all of your heads right now. We'll explain that in a second. But he struggled with fundraising and has yet to break through in the early state national primaries. They say early state or national primary polls. They say if we can't raise this 1.7 million, we're going to have to make the tough decisions that I think any campaign that doesn't have a path to victory should make, according to Cory Booker. Now, once again, man's is broke as hell, but like you just heard in the article, somehow he isn't doing better in polling. Somehow he qualified for the debate stage that Tulsi Gabbard, for example, did not qualify for, and yet after being included on all the debate stages, after being given a good amount of time to make his case on all the debate stages, after being in a plethora of public forums for presidential candidates, he still hasn't broken through. Oh, but it's worse. It's actually worse than what you might think, people, because Cory Booker was on the last debate stage, and yet Tulsi Gabbard was Googled more than him during the Democratic primary debates. And she wasn't on the debate stage. Yeah, that's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. Now, I don't understand how Tulsi shows no signs of fizzling out right now. And yet, she's running a campaign that's almost completely volunteer ran, with volunteer organizing, with exclusively grassroots support, and yet Cory Booker is on the debate stage. And it's fizzling out, and they need 1.7 million like now. I don't even know if Tulsi has raised 1.7 million yet. I mean, and that's not an exaggeration. I think they might have just hit the $1 million mark. So why was Cory Booker even allowed on the debate stage? Well, it's because he's an establishment hat, and that needs to be understood. So if you're one of those people trying to keep Cory Booker on, in the race, it's one thing to say he needs to make. If he was getting cheated out of the debate stage, I would probably stick up for him because that's the right thing to do. If he met the qualifications, then of course he deserved to be on the debate stage. However, Cory Booker's campaign has been all fluff, and I have no reason to believe that he will actually uphold any progressive value that he is just recently espousing, because, that's the popular thing to do nowadays. Now, we can look at another example of why Cory Booker, if his campaign is having that much trouble this early, we literally have another example of why he should just drop out. Bernie Sanders in 2016 was less well known than Cory Booker is right now. Wasn't being propped up or pushed like Cory Booker has been over the last few years, being vetted for this exact situation. He did not have the fundraising, nor did he have the amount of television coverage that Cory Booker had leading into this race. He didn't have 4 debates before September, or before October, I should say, like Cory Booker has had the benefit of being a part of, or 2 debates at least. Now, despite that fact, Bernie managed to operate within his financial limitations. He recognized where they were limited and crafted a grassroots campaign while literally waging war with the giant, a political war with the giant that is Hillary Clinton, and managed to keep the campaign alive and grow constantly and continuously from 2015 all the way through 2016, and even now, really, with less resources, bro. It means you're spending your money on consultants. You're not running a grassroots campaign. That's what that means. If you need 1.7 million, that means there are not enough volunteers galvanized enough to organize for you in states you can't afford to be in. There are not enough people excited enough to give you repeat donations. They're just giving you a few dollars here, maybe a few dollars there. But I know that Tulsi and Bernie and Yang and Marianne Williamson, who all raise grassroots donations, most of their unique individual donors have repeat donations set for their chosen candidates. Some have repeat donations for a couple of those candidates, but not you. Once again, there's a reason for that. Now, what I don't like is the fact that Cory Booker is begging for grassroots donations, but he isn't running a grassroots campaign. For those of you who do not know, Cory Booker raised money from this company called Apollo Global. Now, Apollo Global is a parent company to many private military contractors. And matter of fact, I'll link the article in this video description. It's an article done by Robbie Yeager, one of the contributors to the MCSC network, and a researcher for us as well. Did fantastic work in this article. I strongly suggest you read it. But Apollo Global, they are a parent company to a bunch of private military contractors, and lobbied a lot for the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act. In other words, they lobby so they can get more money to do what private military contractors do. The 2 senators they love more than anybody else are Mitch McConnell and Cory Booker. Now, here's where it gets funny, because who do you think they donated more to, Mitch McConnell or Cory Booker? If you guess Mitch McConnell, you're wrong. He did raise $20,000 from this particular group. However, Cory Booker, during this election cycle, raised $41,000 from the Apollo group. In other words, Cory Booker is no friend to peace. He's no friend to diplomacy. He is only a friend of the military-industrial complex and the establishment. They donated more to Cory Booker this election cycle than anybody else. So why should any grassroots activist be giving this man money? You don't know how to run a successful campaign. One, your campaign's message, whatever the hell that is, we're still trying to figure it out, isn't resonating. Two, three, you're not grassroots, but you keep putting up a front like you are. And that's the problem. You're not one of us. Stop pretending to be one. So if your campaign fizzles out, good. You can go the way of the dodo bird like Kirsten Gillibrand and Bill de Blasio. But like I said, all the grassroots people are still in it, despite the fact that some of them haven't even made the debate stage. And one particular grassroots candidate is quite literally rising in the polls in spite of not being on the debate stage that you were afforded the privilege of being a part of. Ain't that a coincidence? Maybe because one is actually a worthy candidate and the other one is just trying to be president. I have no idea why, but you're trying. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to know what your thoughts are about this. Make sure you like, share, make sure that you're still subscribed, because they are, and I'm sure a lot of YouTubers have been talking about this, they are purging a lot. Basically, for every follower or subscriber we gain, we lose one immediately. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Don't understand why, but make sure you're subscribed and share the video, like the video, comment, all that good stuff. But hey, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.